ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Saturday Night Football overtime. We had 3 games today, a triple header, and it was fantastic. We got a crazy game to start us off. We did not expect what we got between the Colts and the Vikings. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We got a little bit of a breather, a chance to catch our breath after the exhilarating game to start us off. And then we really needed to catch our breath because we were in for a treat to cap the night off with an excellent game between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Some good old-fashioned AFC East family business, and this was of the highest importance and also of the highest quality too. So we'll start with this game. It's the freshest in our memory. It's the one that we just watched, and it was fantastic. Bills get the win 32-29 over the Miami Dolphins, clinching the AFC East, clinching a playoff spot. They did not clinch the division tonight, but they've gotten one step closer to clinching the division with 3 games left. And you're up 2 on the Dolphins with 3 to go. It's pretty safe to say that they're going to win the division, and having a chance to look at their schedule. What's going to be a really fascinating game, however, and we don't know what's going to happen with Buffalo, but especially had they lost tonight. Now that they didn't lose tonight, I think they may be safe, but keep an eye out for that Cincinnati game in 2 weeks on a Monday night, because Cincinnati's already beaten Kansas City. If they can find a way, they're only 1 back of Kansas City. And if they win again, they'll be 1 back of Buffalo, who won tonight. So if they beat the Bengals, or if the Bengals beat Buffalo, they leapfrog both Kansas City and if I'm not mistaken, they're 9-4 right now. So they'll need Kansas City to lose a game. So let me make sure I get this right. They need Kansas City to lose a game. Buffalo will lose if they lose to Cincinnati. So that's how they'll be able to jump over Buffalo, because all they have to do is be tied with both Kansas City and Buffalo, and Cincinnati can sneak into the number 1 seed, which is crazy. So the AFC is wild. I told you, it's the wild, wild west over there. Everybody's got a big name quarterback and a gunslinger, and so it's just crazy. Meanwhile, on the NFC side, things are nice and quiet. Eagles are up at the top. There are none of these big-time quarterbacks. We saw a guy put on a performance in a show tonight, and Josh Allen. There are none of those on the NFC side of the bracket. Okay, it's just a bunch of guys with a bunch of teams just trying to figure out a way to get, where they're ultimately trying to go. So it looks nothing like the AFC, but I can tell you this. The Bills, they're such an interesting team. Let's talk about this game first. Let's talk about this game. We'll talk about the teams individually, and then we'll move back until the first game. I don't really want to spend too much time on Ravens and Browns. It was exactly what I thought we were going to get. I didn't expect the Ravens to be as sloppy as they were today, but the scoring was low. It was, a grinded out game late in December. That's what you get in the AFC North, right? That's what you expect. Weather's going to be a little inclement and nasty. You're going to have to run the football, and you need to play mistake-free ball, and the Ravens didn't do that. But we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. So 32-29 is the final of this epic contest between the Dolphins and Bills. I was shocked at how well Miami was able to run the football. Now, I've made mention of this with Buffalo and how there have been times this season where their run defense hasn't been great. And this has not been a problem all season long. There have only been a few instances, but when it does rear its ugly head, it's a big problem. And it was a problem tonight. The tackling was porous for Buffalo tonight. The run defense was porous. And look, there's always going to be an issue dealing with the speed that the Dolphins can put on the field with Waddle and Hill. And so that's why what the Dolphins had done the last 2 weeks, really not showing up offensively, and especially last week against the Chargers of all teams who, the Chargers aren't great on the defensive side of the football. I was shocked at how poorly they played. But now this team you're playing, it's a family member. You know what to expect. I thought they performed a lot better, but you got to give it to the Bills. You know, the Bills started this game out a little slow and they ramped it up. And, you know, they scared money don't make money. I mean, they rolled the dice numerous times in this game and it came up nice for them, man. I mean, the decision before the half to to forego the field goal, to bypass the attempt with 8 seconds and no timeout. Essentially, what you tell your quarterback in that situation is, hey, bro, you got 5 seconds to make a decision. Either the guy's open immediately or you throw that thing out of the back of the end zone. We send our field goal kicker onto the field with 2 or 3 seconds left, and we take this field goal, go into halftime. Josh Allen stands in the pocket for 6 seconds, rolls out, and the clock is all zeros. If this is not a completion into the end zone, they're getting nothing. The Dolphins go into the halftime break with a ton of momentum, feeling really good about getting this stop. And instead, he finds Cook in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. And wow, what a roll of the dice. But that's who the Bills have been. That's who they are. That's what Josh Allen is. He's a playmaker. You saw it on the 40-some-odd yard run. Look, Josh giveth, Josh taketh away. He had the fumble. He fumbled again. Good thing that his tackle, I want to say it was Spencer Brown, Johnny on the spot, or in this case, Spencer on the spot, because if they turn that up, he had just fumbled the possession before. And even though the defense rose to the occasion and forced the 3-and-out, actually backed the Dolphins up, if they come away with that football, the score, remember, at that time is 29-21. You're down 8. They were really deep in their own territory. That fumble occurred at like the 20, let's call it the 29, 28-yard line of the Bills. So if the Dolphins recover that, they're already in field goal range now. And it started to snow by then. And we'll talk about the weather here, you know, in a second. But Josh put it on the ground a couple of times. That's been his MO in his career. If there's one knock on Josh Allen, it's the turnovers. And, you know, he'll fumble the football. That's one thing he's always done from day one to now. He's always been a guy that will put the ball in harm's way. Okay, he will fumble the football. There's times where he'll put the ball in harm's way, throwing it as well, but he's minimized those mistakes as his career has progressed. However, he made up for it. He atoned for his sin. Coming right back, I want to say it was the very next snap. If it wasn't the very next snap, it was like 2 plays later. He takes off. And first of all, the safety, I don't know if that was safety or corner, takes the poorest angle. And I think Josh Allen is one of those quarterbacks in the league that I think Jalen Hurts is another one of those dudes where you see them and you don't think they're that fast. You get up on them and then they turn the corner on your ass and you're like, whoa, he's a little bit faster than I thought. Hurts is not the athlete that Josh Allen is, but I think he's faster than, because Jalen Hurts doesn't look fast. And when he's running, he doesn't look fast. But then all of a sudden you realize, damn, why didn't I catch him? He's faster than you think. Allen is an athlete. You know he's fast, but I don't think they know how fast he truly is. You saw it on that play because he took off. And you can tell when guys have a different gear. That Jalen Waddle catch and run for the touchdown, that's a different gear. That looks, that hits, that feels different, okay? You know speed when you see there's speed and then there's speed. That was speed. Josh Allen has speed. He doesn't have speed, but he showed off some wheels on that particular run. And when they needed him the most, and this is where these quarterbacks in the league separate themselves, because you've got guys that are really good players in this league, but the guys that separate themselves are the ones that when their team needs them the most, that's when they play some of their best ball. And that's Josh Allen. And he's shown us this numerous times this season, whether it be the Baltimore game, whether it be the Detroit game, whether even the Minnesota game, it was, you know, it was a little bit of a mixed bag because he delivered on one end after the fumble. They got the football back, right? All right. And he took them down the field and got the field goal to force overtime. Then they got the football and he took them down the field in overtime, and then he threw the back-breaking pick that ended the game essentially. So he usually delivers in these types of situations. Down 8, there's this avalanche of snow coming down now. I mean, the precipitation is real. This lake effect snow that we've been talking about, shit's here, okay? And it's coming down in buckets. I'm talking about droves of snow just coming down. It's a beautiful sight. If you're watching it on television, like, man, this is awesome, right? Probably not for the players, however, but he takes them right down the field, makes a couple of big time throws. I thought the biggest throw of the game was the throw to Isaiah McKenzie, on that third down. That's a huge play there, because if you don't convert that, you got to punt. You can't risk it there. You got to punt the football away. And it was a great route, great concept, and a great throw. And then the pass interference was clearly pass interference, and that pretty much put them in the wheelhouse. I thought it was also interesting that when they needed to give the ball to a back, they've got a bunch of them on the roster, but the guy they trust the most is Motor Singletary. That's the guy that was getting the football in those crucial moments on that final drive. And so, just a little food for thought there. That's the guy that signifies that's the guy they trust with the football in his hands the most in that situation. Dawson Knox was outstanding. He's coming into his own. I was such a huge, you guys know this if you watched me for a long time. If not, it's there. Go back into the archives. But my draft breakdown of Dawson Knox, I said he was one of my favorite tight ends. That was a deep tight end draft class. That was the TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant. Jay Sternberger didn't turn out as good as I thought he was going to out of Texas A&M. But Dawson Knox, there were like 2 or 3 other dudes that were really good tight ends in that draft as well. It was a deep class of tight ends that went that year. And I want to say Dallas Goedert was in that draft class as well. I think he was in that draft class as well. It was a deep class, and Dawson Knox was one of my favorites in that draft class, and you're seeing it now. He's such a good tight end, at a big touchdown catch to cut it to 2, and then Allen with the stretch over the goal line. His legs, I talked about this, I think it was last week after their game against – it wasn't the game against New England. It was the game after that. So it was last week's game against the Jets. That was another inclement weather game. And I said his legs are a huge part, more so than any year I can remember outside of his rookie season. His legs are a much bigger part of his game now. And I don't know if that's a byproduct of Ken Dorsey. I can tell you this. They ran it with him last year, but with Ken Dorsey this year, they're running it a lot more with him. His legs are a huge part of their offense. You saw it again tonight. And I don't recall his legs being this big a part of the offense in previous years. I'm actually, I don't have my mobile device on me. I was actually about to check to see if this is the most rushing attempts he's had in his career, outside of his rookie season. I felt like he ran it a ton in his rookie season, but when you're a rookie and you don't trust anything, you trust the one thing you can trust, which is your legs. So that's to be expected. But you saw it again tonight. His legs were huge. He kept it a couple of times. But you can see the recklessness with him. There's a play down by the goal line, that the drive where they scored the touchdown to Dawson Knox to cut it to 2, where he pulls it on read option. And he's got the ball in his hand like this, and he's trying to bring it over a defender. And I'm like, no, Josh, what are you doing? Put that shit away, dude. Like, he's scary at times with the football. He's so good, but he's also so reckless. It's this fine line that he walks. Sometimes he crosses it, and it becomes detrimental to his team. But other times, without that recklessness, though, he's not Josh Allen. And you can't take that away. You can't neuter him and take that away, but it's cringy. If you're a Bills fan, you're on pins and needles. You're like, Josh, put the damn ball away, dude. But he's so good, and you saw it tonight. And the supporting cast is so good around him. Diggs wasn't happy tonight. He wanted the football a little bit more. It was just one of those nights where you knew it was going to be tough, and other guys stepped up. It was good to see Cole Beasley back out there in a Bills uniform. He had a couple of catches in the game. Gabe Davis stepped up tonight. I thought he was big tonight as well, along with Dawson Knox. Those were the 2 biggest targets of the night. But this is a total team effort from Buffalo. I thought the defense stepped up after they had a rough go of it in the third quarter. They gave up 13 points, and they were finding it hard to stop the run. I actually thought the Dolphins did the defense of the Bills a favor. When it started to snow really heavy, those final 2 possessions, I thought the Dolphins abandoned the run, and they solely put it on the shoulders of Tua. I thought that was a mistake. They had a couple of nice completions to start one of those drives, and then they just totally abandoned the run. And I'm like, you're having so much success on the ground, and you're just going to stop? You're just going to trust Tua to just throw it on every single snap? What are you doing? You're killing them on the ground. Just stick with that. Don't necessarily just go strictly to a ground game, but still incorporate the run. I thought they went away from it. They ended up getting sacked. You ended up in a 3rd and 12, and then you ended up having to punt. And I thought that was a byproduct of them just going away from the run way too quickly in that situation. They were having success with it. The Bills defensively struggled stopping the run. Their tackling was not good tonight. That's not what we're used to seeing from a Bills defense. But I thought Tre'Davious White was outstanding. He looks like he's getting back. I don't think he's quite there yet. He got cooked on the touchdown by Tyreek Hill, which, again, even if he was fully healthy, if you don't get a jam on him, you're going to get cooked, okay? But he looked damn good tonight. And the Bills got their hands on so many footballs. Tua was lucky to not have been picked off tonight, because I thought Tyron Johnson had a chance. I thought that Tre'Davious White had a chance at 1 or 2 of them. And so he got away. He got away with a couple of, near misses tonight. But with that said, got to credit the Dolphins for coming on the road after, what was a short week, number one, because of, Sunday Night Football and going all the way out to the left coast, having to come all the way back east. And after the showing that they had on Sunday Night Football, and then even, going back the week prior against Miami, where they weren't that good on offense there either, to do what they did in this game, you have to credit them. I was talking about them reeling. I was talking about them maybe trending in the wrong direction and not, necessarily making the playoffs. Tonight, they looked like the playoff team that was once 8-3. Okay, they looked like that team tonight. They didn't get it done, but to go in that kind of environment, and it was hostile. They were throwing snowballs or ice balls. Okay, it was a hostile environment. To go into that environment, perform the way that they did, have the Bills on the ropes with an opportunity. It was a really solid performance, a gutsy performance by the Dolphins, but they came up short. And, again, that's a testament to the Bills. That's a testament to Josh Allen. That's a testament to that team finding a way to overcome some obstacles, a turnover, a near turnover, some bad tackling, the Dolphins running the football very effectively, and still finding a way to get a win. And that's what the good teams in this league do. They find a way to win. The bad teams in this league find ways to lose. Nobody lost this game. I always talk about sometimes you just need to remove yourself, step back, and let a bad team lose a game, or just let a team in general lose a game. It doesn't always have to be bad teams that lose games. In the NFL, good teams lose games sometimes too. The Dolphins didn't give this game away to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills took this game, and that's the difference. Is sometimes good teams just make plays and win games, and that's what the Bills did. This was a fantastic game, start to finish. The weather came and the snow came down in like midway through the 4th. And when it came, I'm talking about it was coming down. I've never seen snow coming down that heavy, that fast. I've seen snow come down heavy before, but usually it's been snowing for a while. It starts out a little light, then it starts to pick up. I mean, that shit came and it was coming like a blizzard. And so they're going to get pounded. It's going to be, every bit of a foot to 2 feet of snow probably that they're going to get hammered with in upstate New York there. But nonetheless, what a win by the Buffalo Bills, a gutsy performance by the Dolphins. I thought the Bills, that's a Super Bowl performance there. Now, again, got to clean up the run defense. That hasn't been a problem all year, but there have been games, the Green Bay game, the run defense was a problem. The Baltimore game, the run defense was a problem. The first time against the Jets, the run defense was a problem. And again tonight. So there have been games this season where the run defense has been problematic. This is another one. I don't think it's something that you need to be overly concerned with, but just store that in the memory bank. You've been run on before this season. You got run on again tonight. Just make sure you clean that shit up, because it could become a problem down the road. But the biggest thing for Buffalo is you just got to take care of the football. This team is so hard to beat when they take care of the football. When they turn it over, they can be beaten. And we've seen them even in the very first game of the season against the Rams. They turned it over 4 times in that game. Still won by 21 points, right? It's rare that you see a team be -3 in a turnover battle and still win the game by 3 touchdowns. But they've been turning the football over this season. That's the thing that gives teams a chance. And the fumble that Josh Allen had was on him, because at some point that clock has to go off in your head, and you've got to say, okay, I've been back here way too long. If nobody's open, you got to go, man. Take off and run. Do something. Don't just stand there. Run, okay? Don't just stand there. Run. And he didn't, and he set himself up to get hit. And I was telling Washington fans, when we played the Giants the first time, and their pass rusher, their rookie pass rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau, had a chance to end the game with a forced fumble, he didn't go for the football. You saw what Jalen Phillips did there? He wasn't concerned with the sack. His biggest thing, that like they showed him slowed down. They showed the replay in slow motion. He wound up so hard that he shut his eyes. He was slamming that wrist so goddamn hard. This damn ball is coming out. You know, that's what I'm after. I want the rock. Everything else is cool, but this ball is coming out. That's how you do it. When you're a baller, you're looking for the rock. And Josh has got to be better in that situation. But what a remarkable football game. What a comeback and what a win for the Buffalo Bills. They're now 11-3 on the season, still remain the #1 overall seed in the AFC with the win. Dolphins dropped to 8-6. They're still the 6th seed, pending the results tomorrow. Obviously, New England's got a game that could push them to 8-6. Doesn't matter. They own the tiebreaker over the Patriots, but the Chargers could win tomorrow against the Titans, get to 8-6, and then they are ahead of this Miami Dolphins football team. So, you know, depending on what happens, you know, there could be some reshuffling of the deck. The Jets, you know, have also beaten this Miami Dolphins team. They have a chance to win at home against Detroit. If everybody's 8-6, Miami's on the outside looking in, okay? New England gets pushed out of the playoffs, all right? They become the 9 seed. If all teams are 8-6, all 4 of those teams, Miami, New England, the Jets, and the Chargers are all 8-6. None of them play each other. They can all win in week number 8, or excuse me, week number 15. If they're all 8-6, the Jets are the 9 seed, okay? Or excuse me, the Patriots are the 9 seed. The Dolphins become the 8 seed, and then you have the Patriots push up to 6, and then you have the Chargers pushed up to 7, because the Chargers, or excuse me, the Dolphins come down to 7. Excuse me, the Chargers go to 6. The Dolphins come down to 7. The Patriots would go to 8, and the Jets would be at 9. That's how that pecking order would go, because the Jets got swept by the Patriots. The Patriots got beat by the Dolphins, and the Dolphins got beat by the Chargers. So it's like this crazy, entanglement, this web where it's all of these different things and scenarios that have already happened. But this is why you don't lose games at the end of the season. This is why you win, so you don't put yourself in these predicaments. But I think when it's all said and done, what I watched tonight, remember when I talked about this after the Monday night game with the Patriots and the Cardinals? I said I didn't see a playoff team tonight. I didn't watch a playoff team tonight. And to a certain degree, Troy Aikman said the same thing. Like, I didn't feel like I just watched a playoff team, and neither did I. I watched 2 playoff teams tonight. So if the Dolphins can replicate this the final 3 weeks of the season, they're not playing Buffalo every week. If they can replicate what they did tonight, they'll win at a bare minimum 2 out of their final 3, if not all 3 of their final games. So they're in a solid spot. But when you lose 3 in a row this late in the season, this is what happens. And so on the Miami side of things, I thought they ran the ball phenomenally tonight. I thought that Tua looked a lot more relaxed, looked to be a little bit more in sync with his receivers. I thought the offense looked disjointed last week. They looked out of sorts. They looked confused and discombobulated. That wasn't the case tonight. They looked relaxed. They looked to be intertwined with one another. Tua's back foot hit the ground and the ball came out. He was effective. I think the offense is at its best when Waddle is involved. I didn't think he got involved at all last week. It was really just the Tyreek Hill show last week. They have to get him involved. He got involved early in this game, and it makes them such a dangerous team because everyone's keying in on 10. And when you overcommit coverage to 10, now 17 can get you. I still don't understand why Mike Gesicki isn't a bigger part of their offense. That boggles the mind, but they spent a franchise tag on the dude, and they don't even throw him the football. I would assume that this is his final year in Miami because for whatever reason, they just don't throw Mike Gesicki the football. But they ran it effectively. Raheem Mostert was outstanding tonight. And normally when they run it effectively, it's Jeff Wilson Jr. since the trade. But tonight it was Raheem Mostert who was giving the Bills fits. And Tua did a great job off of that run of taking advantage of some play action fake. That throw to Tyreek Hill was a thing of beauty. I mean, safety comes over, can't get there in time. It's like he dropped it out of the sky. Before Tre'Davious White could get back into play, before the safety could get in, the ball just came right in there. Touchdown, beautiful throw from Tua there. The Waddle catch and run was amazing. Man, the amount of speed Jalen Waddle has is ridiculous. I mean, that was one of those times where you just go, whoa. When you see a guy with some speed, that's when you see it, you go, wow, that is bonkers. So that was impressive to watch. Defensively, I thought they were solid, especially in the second half. But when they needed stops, and it's tough because they did a great job coming out of halftime. Bills had all the momentum. They scored a touchdown. The Bills get the ball again, and they forced a 3-and-out. And I thought that was the start of what was a great quarter for them, where they scored 13 unanswered points and ultimately take the lead into the fourth quarter. And so I thought they had done a great job of putting themselves in a position to win the football game. And unfortunately for them, they weren't able to hold on. And they had opportunities. There's a possession where the ball's down at the 1. The Bills end up punting the football. The Dolphins get tremendous field position, and they don't do anything with it. The Josh Allen fumble, tremendous field position. They don't do anything with it. They had their opportunities in this game, and they squandered some tremendous field position. And so they have no one to blame but themselves for the outcome of this football game. The defense presented you with some opportunities. You didn't take advantage. And you knew it was only a matter of time. That dam was going to break at some point. They held up as long as they could, but they needed to keep scoring points because this Bills offense wasn't done for the night. And, of course, you get the touchdown, a huge Josh Allen run, then the touchdown toss to Dawson Knox on the third down, which was a huge throw. And then you get the 2-point conversion, Josh Allen jumping over the top, stretching out the football, initially ruled a fumble and a mad scramble for it. But the replay clearly showed that ball broke the plane. And I thought it broke it initially when he first did it. I'm like, he didn't score? You sure? Like, this dude's 6'5", 6'6". You sure he didn't get that ball over the goal line? Because he stretched out Drew Brees style, like full extension. You sure he didn't get that over the goal line? He did. And so that knotted it up. And the Dolphins had their opportunities, and they didn't take advantage, and Buffalo got that final opportunity, and they did. And so what a remarkable game. The Dolphins have nothing to be ashamed of. There are no moral victories, right? You either win or you lose, or in certain instances, you tie. But this looked a lot more like the Dolphins team that we watched start the season off 8-3. This looked like the playoff Dolphins that we saw a month ago when we said, okay, they're going to be a problem to deal with in the AFC. So that was good to see if you're a Dolphins fan, that the offense woke up, gave you some production, and now you just got 3 games to put yourself in a position to have a shot, and that's all you can ask for. We'll see what the Dolphins do with that. They had their opportunities in this game. They split the season series with Buffalo, had a chance to sweep them, climb within 1 game in the division, and really make shit interesting. Instead, now they're back 3 with 3 to go. And at this point, It's all but done. All Buffalo has to do is win one more game, and they will clinch the AFC East. They clinched a playoff berth tonight. They can clinch the division next week with a win. And so it's going to be some interesting stuff. Buffalo's not out of the woods yet. I already laid out a scenario where either Kansas City, don't sleep on Cincinnati. They're playing excellent ball. They've got Tampa Bay on the road this week. That's a very winnable game. After that game, they've got another game, and then they've got the matchup with this Buffalo Bills team on a Monday night. That, my friends, is going to be an epic contest. I think it's in Buffalo as well. But that one could be for the number one seed in the conference, depending on what Buffalo does. They've got to lose a game before we get to that game in order to make that a reality, because Cincinnati is now back a game and a half. They win tomorrow, they'll just be back a game. But stranger things have happened. Now, again, I think if they get to 10-4, Buffalo would be 11-3. All they have to do is be behind them by one game, because if they beat them, then they're tied, but they hold the tiebreaker. So look out for that one. If Kansas City slips up somewhere around, along the way, I think they've got one or two games left that could be tricky for them to navigate. If they slip up once, look out for Cincinnati. I'll just say that. But what a game that was. We'll transition quickly to the first game. Let me get my wine for this one. I got my glass of wine. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, watched the games, and kick back, sip my wine, and just enjoyed me some Saturday football. It was sweet. So afternoon started off with Vikings hosting the Colts. And told my wife, this is going to be an ass whipping. I said the Colts have a knack for hanging around early, making it interesting. They're not terrible defensively, okay? So they're going to hang around, make it interesting. This score will be 17-13 at halftime, and then the Vikings will explode on them in the second half, and they'll win the game like 34. Like, usually the Colts score 16 points. That's their season average. They score roughly 16 points. So I was thinking 34-16 would be the final score, something like that, after the score was 17-13 at half. Well, not exactly the way I thought it was going to go. So Colts get an opening drive field goal, and I'm like, okay, that's cute. That's nice. And then the two teams exchange punts, and it's just kind of going meh. And then the Vikings get a punt blocked, and the wheels kind of came off from there. You get a punt block, run in for a touchdown. It's 10-0. You're like, that's interesting. But still didn't think this was going to mean anything. Then they score a field goal. It's 13. And you're like, all right, Minnesota, you might want to score some points here. Like, it's they're gaining some confidence. You might, crowd's getting a little uneasy, and, there's a little bit of unrest setting in. And I'm like, you might want to score some points, do something to curtail this. They're starting to really gain. Uncle Mo is already on their sideline. He's getting really comfortable. I saw him pull the lever on the recliner. His feet are up. He's starting to lean back. Like Fat Joe, lean back. Lean back. Like, you might want to do something. And instead, Kirk throws a pick six, and next thing you know, it's 30-0. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Or in the words of the great Vince Lombardi, what the hell is going on out there? What am I watching right now? And I said, oh my God, they're getting the Cowboys game all over again. Like, they're getting their ass beat at home again, like they did against Dallas like 3 weeks ago. And I thought, and again, when it's 30-0, I think at the time it was 30-0 because they kicked the field goal to make it 33-0 at halftime. And I thought the Colts went super conservative. You're up 30-0. Who thinks they're gonna blow a 30-0 in lead and make? They got a chance to make it 30. So it's right before half. It's a 3rd and 5. You got a chance to bury these bastards. They can't stop you. They haven't stopped you since the scoring avalanche, began. You can do no wrong. Matt Ryan is in a zone. I thought they should have gone for the jugular. I mean, you think 33-0 is the jugular. They're dead already, right? Like, I thought they had a chance to crush their larynx. I mean, absolutely, positively kill them dead. And we aren't having an open casket. The body is mangled too badly. And we got to identify you by dental records. They had a chance with that 3rd and 5 right before the half. Vikings had no more timeouts. They could do whatever they wanted to do. And they ran the football, got 3 yards, kicked the field goal. And again, it was 33-0. Like, in my mind, I'm saying, why aren't you going for the touchdown? But in their mind, they're saying the worst thing that can happen is Matt Ryan throws a pick 6 or he gets hit from behind. The ball comes out, they scoop it. And all of a sudden, they got momentum going into halftime. Let's just take the field goal, go up 33-0. They're not coming back, right? Yeah. Who comes back from 33-point deficits? And I'm watching this game in the second half. And my wife is trying to send me to the store. And I'm like, I'm going to go. I just want to make sure, because I would have never said something like this had I not seen what the Colts did earlier this season or 2 weeks ago against Dallas when they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. I would have never said something like this, because you don't think that a team is going to blow a 33-point lead. You just don't. It doesn't happen in this league. Too much has to go right for one team and too much has to go wrong for the other team for you to blow a 33-point lead. So my wife says, hey, I need you to go to the store. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go. And I just wanted to make sure that the Vikings weren't going to come back. 33-0. What do you need to stick around for? But I just want to make sure that they're not going to come back, because I don't trust the Colts. They're terrible. Or in the words of Charles Barkley, they're terrible. They're terrible. So it's 36-7. Then the Vikings score again. It's 36-14. And I'm doing the math in my head. I said, shit, that's 3 touchdowns with 1 2-point conversion. It's 22 points. There was still like 4 minutes left in the third quarter. So you roughly got about 20 minutes of action left. I'm like, shit, they can do this. They score again. Now it's 21. Crowd is getting into it. I'm like, uh-oh. Indianapolis, do something. Matt Ryan, do something. All they needed was a field goal. I told my wife, if Indianapolis scores any more points, I'm going to the store. Because any points of any kind, it would have killed any opportunity Minnesota had. They had to keep the lead where it was. A field goal would have made it a 4-score game. Would have made it 25. Okay? It's still technically, 25 isn't a 3-score game. It's a 4-score game, because you can go for 2-3 times. It's 24. So any points of any kind, up 22, you got them. Any score of any kind, up 15, which it was at 20. It was 36-21. Any score of any kind, a field goal. Now it's 18. Now they got to score 3 times. They're running out of time. They're running out of clock. They're running out of possessions. Not once did Indianapolis threaten these boys, except for the time where they made a decision. And at the time, I'm like, I don't know, man. McLaughlin has the leg. I may send him out here for this. But in your mind, you're telling yourself, if we can't get 6 inches, we don't deserve to win. If Matt Ryan can't quarterback sneak and get this first down, we don't deserve to win. If he picks it up, the game's over. You take knees and it's over. It's a wrap. And that's what they were aiming for. Of course, he didn't get it. And you knew he wasn't going to get it. I mean, with the way the momentum was going, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the Colts to make that one play or the Vikings to make that one mistake. And Kirk did. He threw a pick. And it slowed the momentum, but it didn't stop it. Both of the picks that Kirk threw, by the way, were not his fault. They were both the fault of the receiver, Jalen Reagor. Both of them were on Jalen Reagor. And so you get that deep ball, it's picked off, and for a moment, the Colts got to exhale. Okay, all right, let's settle down. But they didn't. They didn't. And they fumbled the ball, and I thought the officiating in that game was just horrendous. I mean, the first fumble, okay, fine. Forward progress was stopped. I thought it was. I didn't think anything of that call. I thought it was fine because you got a guy fighting for extra yards, and then the guy starts pulling him backwards, ripping the ball out. Here comes a teammate, hits him, the ball comes out. I thought forward progress had already been stopped. Had they ruled it in the other way and they just let it go, fine. I wouldn't have had a problem either way. But I thought forward progress was stopped. There was no way in hell that the second fumble should not have been a touchdown. That ball was out so early in that play that there was no chance of it being down by contact or forward progress being stopped. That was a bang, bang. He gets hit in the hole. Ball is punched out. That ball is out. It's scooped up by Chandon Sullivan. That's his second scoop and score that you've taken from him. He loses his shit, takes his lid off, tosses it, gets a 15-yard penalty. He had every right to be upset, but he's got to keep his cool in that situation. He cost his team 15 yards. That was dumb, but I get it. I mean, that's some bullshit. Especially if you've never scored in your NFL career and you've had 2 chances today and they robbed you twice in your mind, especially the second one. And that would have gave them an opportunity to tie the game with probably like 6 or 7 minutes to go. Like that scoop and score was still with like 6 minutes to go in the game. You go for 2 and you get it. They would have won the game in regulation. Instead, they got the football, and if I'm not mistaken, at that time they were down 8, and I think they ended up scoring anyway. Or was that the possession where Kirk threw the pick? I can't quite remember what happened. But I remember later on them scoring on the Dalvin Cook screen. So they didn't score there. They must have gone for it, or something happened where they didn't get a touchdown on that particular possession because they didn't score until the Dalvin Cook, 70 yards. I don't know how long. It was ridiculous. Screen for the touchdown. And then they got the 2-point conversion to TJ Hawkinson. And look, the Colts still had an opportunity. They still got the football. They had a chance. Like that score by Dalvin Cook came with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Like they had plenty of time. And I thought the Vikings were going to win the game in regulation. Luckily enough, the Colts were able to get like 1 or 2 first downs that really, took a lot of the clock off. Then they could punt the football and force the Vikings to have to take a knee. I think actually the Colts had to take a knee to get to overtime because it got down at the 1. And I'm, you know what I'm thinking. If you're a Vikings fan, you're probably thinking the same thing. Remember what happened with the damn Bills in a similar situation, trying to quarterback sneak out of their own end zone? I'm like, shit. But luckily enough for them, there was enough room for him to just take a knee in the field of play, not even have to worry about a quarterback sneak. And so the game goes to overtime. And once the game got tied, Indianapolis was cooked. They could never allow it to get tied because they weren't scoring any more points. They'd already exceeded their limit. They're not a 36-point a game team. I mean, they far exceeded their limit. I told you they averaged 16 on the season per game. So they were done scoring. They were going to have to make 36 work. And the minute that game got tied, if the Vikings don't convert the 2-point conversion, I think Indianapolis wins the game. We'll see. The likelihood is the Vikings find a way to get back in the field goal range, trot out Joseph and he probably kicks a 56-yard field goal and they win the game anyway. But once they got tied at 36, the Colts were done. There was no chance in hell they were going to win the game. And it's amazing how momentum works, because everyone watching the game had to feel the same way that I did, which was the Colts are going to lose this game. Like, I wouldn't go to the store at 36-14. I mean, shit was ridiculous. My wife asked me at halftime to go to the store right when halftime was about to be over. And it's 33-0. I should have just gone to the store. But I'm like, it's Indy. They gave up 33 points to the Cowboys in a quarter, not a half, a quarter. I think I'm going to stick around just to make sure. And then they scored a touchdown. Indy kicked a field goal to make it 36-7. Then the Vikings scored a touchdown again. And now it's 36-14. And at that point, I told my wife, if the Colts score any more points, I will go to the store because they're going to win a game. They never scored another point the remainder of the game. And I was all over Twitter for the Colts. I just wanted to see what Colts fans were saying. And I saw a lot of, this is the worst season in Colts history. And, you know, that's a lot of that is prisoner of the moment talks. Some of that is coming from fans who weren't around when this team was going 1-15 every year. I mean, they sucked. Those Marshall Faulk, you know, years, they were some lean years prior to Peyton Manning. A lot of 2-14s, 1-15s. They were awful. Okay. So, I think the older fans are like, yeah, we've seen worse. I mean, this is bad. I mean, those teams didn't have hope. You know, I think it's worse when you have hope. Everyone told, and I told you, I didn't think Indianapolis was going to be good this year. I told you guys that. But you had a lot of people building this team up. Oh, my God, they got Matt Ryan. That's an upgrade over Carson Wentz. You don't say. Really? It's an upgrade, huh? Okay. And what they found out was that it wasn't an upgrade. And that he was turning, the thing that Carson Wentz didn't do was he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over. Yeah, he had some games where he wasn't great and he wasn't as sharp, but he didn't turn the ball over. Matt Ryan has been turning the ball over at an alarming rate this season, which is why he got benched in the first place. Too many damn turnovers. But anyway, everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Vikings in the first half. And the thing that I found really interesting was in the second half, they were never quite in a hurry. They were still running the football. They stuck true to their offense. I was like, they're kind of just like, they expected the Colts to kind of self-destruct. You could see it. Like, they weren't pressing. Like, you get down by 33 points and there's this need to press. I remember watching Washington earlier this season, playing Philadelphia. It was just 24-0. But the way they were dominated in the first half, really the second quarter of the game, it felt like 40-0. It felt like 50-0. And we're going pretty much hurry up the entire second half, dinking and dunking. Feels like we're going nowhere, like we're in quicksand. The harder we push, the faster we get sucked out, right? That's not what the Vikings did. And they were down way more. They were down 33-0, right? They weren't pressing. They weren't, going no huddle. None of that. They were still running the football. I wish I had my mobile device. I got one here. I'll just have to use this one. Because I need to go to the I don't know if Kirk Cousins had 47 attempts in this game. He had to have 40. In a game like this, he had to have, I'm going to say Kirk Cousins had 44 attempts in this game. I could be wrong. But normally when you're down that big, it's 60 attempts. It's 57. Let's see what Kirk Cousins had in this game. Okay, he had 54. He had 54 attempts. That sounds about right. You're supposed to have about damn near 60 attempts when you're down that much. It just felt like they stayed true to themselves. Like they never really pushed hurry up, except for when they had to late in the game. Just felt like they they were able to do the things that they've done all season, but this is who the Vikings have been. The Vikings are now 10-0 in one-score games this season. I find it very funny, though, because Vikings fans were not happy with me earlier this season when I told them that their team, there were some teams that are fans of other teams that I thought were a little bit out of bounds by calling the Vikings a fluke. You don't win 10 one-score games and have it be a fluke. That's a skill. That's an art. That when shit gets tight, they don't clam up and they expect to win in those situations. That's an art form to win close ball games. Not everybody's built to do that. However, what that allows fans and teams around the league to do is doubt you. So you can't be upset when somebody looks at you and says, oh, I'd love to play Minnesota. You know why they feel that way? Because of games like this. Because of the Dallas game. Because of the Arizona game. Because of the Detroit games. Because the Chicago game. Because every time we look up, you're fighting for your life. And there are games that you should have lost, like the Buffalo game, but you didn't. Like the New Orleans game over in London. Should have lost, but you didn't. And so when a team like Washington is sitting there saying, hey, we'd like our chance at Minnesota again. Or you see one of these other teams that ain't even in the playoffs like Seattle saying, hey, we'd take a shot at Minnesota if we could just get in. That's why. It's not because we're trying to disrespect the Vikings. You're giving people ammunition to use against you in terms of feeling like they can beat you. These are the types of games. Why? It was funny because I forgot who was doing the game. It was Noah Eagle and it was Nate Burleson. And Nate Burleson, ex-Viking, right? So he's got ties to the organization. And he's talking to some of the players before the game, Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. And he said, do you guys feel disrespected? You know, people aren't giving you the credit. This is why. This is why. It reminded me, and they're not the same. So I don't want you to think that I'm comparing the two. But it reminds me a lot of the Arizona Cardinals last year. Remember, they were the last undefeated team last year. They were 8-0, and nobody was respecting them. And they talked about disrespect going into that Thursday night game against Green Bay when the Packers had nobody. There was no Devontae Adams, and there was no receivers. And they lost to Aaron Rodgers with like fourth and fifth string receivers that night. That was the A.J. Green confused, not on the same page with Kyler Murray on the last play, and it's an interception. It reminds me of that because the Cardinals were so enamored with the disrespect that they were getting. Well, this is why we don't respect you. Same thing with these Vikings. There's an art form to winning the games that they've won and how they've won, but there's also a level of confidence that you instill in other teams that give them the reason to feel like they can beat you. Indianapolis felt like they could come into Minnesota and beat you. Why? Because you play close ball games. You got your ass whooped at home 3 weeks ago by Dallas. The Lions rung your ass up last week. That's why teams think they can beat you. That's why everybody's scrambling that's at the bottom of the NFC playoffs, scrambling to figure out, hey, how can we get in line to play Minnesota? I'd like to avoid Philadelphia. I'd like to avoid San Francisco if at all possible. Hey, where's Minnesota at? Put me across from them. This is why. Okay? Everybody will be making that mad dash for the 5 seed if it's Carolina or Tampa Bay. Everybody's lining up, especially if it's Carolina, because it's still Tom Brady. You still got to respect the GOAT, but everybody's going to be making that mad dash for the 5 seed. But you know what the consolation prize is if you don't get that? Wherever Minnesota is, whether they're the 2 seed, give me the 7. If they're the 3 seed, give me the 6. Why? Because it's games like today. That's why. You're not going to be able to do this against better teams. You fall down like this, like you did when you did against Dallas, the end result is going to be like it was against Dallas. Ain't no 36-point, barrage that allows you to come back, tie the game up, and win in overtime. You're going to end up losing 40-3 like you did against Dallas, okay? So while on one end you're like, man, what a comeback, greatest in NFL history, this shit is crazy. The other hand is, this is why you don't get the respect that you want. And I'll just say this, it's a hell of a coaching job by Kevin O'Connell. Because at halftime, I mean, what do you say to your team? And I watched his post-game speech. And he told him at halftime, he told him at halftime, bro, we can't play any worse than we did. Can't get any worse. So let's just go out there. And I'm pretty sure he told them, hey, they gave up 33 points in one quarter to the Cowboys. We can make up this deficit. We've been here before. We've been down big. We can come back. I don't think they thought they were coming back to win, though, until they started to get some momentum. KJ Osborne was clutch in this game. When nothing was going right, he was the only guy that was providing a spark. So I got to make sure I give him credit. He was outstanding tonight, or this afternoon. And Justin Jefferson got hit. I thought that, like I said this already, but I thought the officiating was trash in this game. Both ways. Your Vikings fans have a big gripe, but Colts fans do as well. I thought that, hit on Justin, that wasn't a penalty. That wasn't a penalty. I thought that wasn't a good call. But at the end of the day, that's a hell of a comeback, man. The greatest I've ever seen, with these eyes. Obviously, playoff comebacks mean more. So the Oilers, in the Bills still is one of the most epic comebacks. And of course, the 28-3 in the Super Bowl. It doesn't get any bigger than that stage, right? Those are still more epic, but 33 points, single greatest comeback in NFL history. That's saying something. And I just want to say this for all the Kirk Cousins haters out there, because I was a Kirk Cousins stan. Now Kirk Cousins owns 2 of the top 7 comebacks in NFL history. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. The number 1 comeback and the number 7 is his 24-0 deficit against Tampa Bay when he was a member of the Washington Redskins. So say what you want about Kirk Cousins. The man gets shit done. And oh, by the way, he's got the most fourth quarter game-winning drives in the league this season. So that whole narrative of Kirk not being clutch and this, that, and the third, he gets a bunch of garbage time stats. Save that shit, okay? Save it. All right? And, my wife was like, because she's a Kirk Cousins hater too, to a degree. She's not as egregious as some of you out there, but, she's like, he still threw 2 interceptions. And I'm like, neither one of them were his fault. I said, and you sound like the Kirk Cousins haters, because they're going to find a way to try to make it seem like Kirk didn't do his job, or he tried to cost them the game, or try to minimize his role in this comeback. And she started laughing because she knew I was right. They said, and I didn't realize this, and I just think back to when Washington played them. So Kirk Cousins is the most hit quarterback in the league. And I just think about the Washington game. I remember we whooped his ass. I mean, we hit him every bit of 11 or 12, 13 times. We sacked him like 4 or 5 times. He even had to leave the game on a snap. He got his ass whooped in that game. And he kept coming like the damn Energizer Bunny. And what it reminded me of as a Washington fan is the fact that Kirk never missed games. Never. I could always rely on 8 to show up every single week. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss snaps. Doesn't matter how many times he gets hit. He always, always, always gets back up. Done the same thing for the Vikings. How many quarterbacks have we had leave the lineup due to injuries since he's left? We had one of the most grotesque injuries in NFL history, right up there with the Joe Theismann injury, with Alex Smith Alex Smith's knee, right? You had in just the last 2 seasons, Heineke got hurt. You had Carson Wentz get hurt this year. Trying to think, did Case Keenum got hurt? That's how Dwayne Haskins got in the game. Case Keenum got hurt and missed 2 or 3 games. So we've had all of these guys come in here, get injured, miss games. Ryan Fitzpatrick, how could I forget him, right? Played 2 series in Washington. 2 series. Kirk Cousins gets hit. He gets up. And he delivers. Say what you want. Kirk Cousins is mother effing good. And he should still be in Washington, and we wouldn't be having these conversations about quarterback. Anyway, I digress. And then you had the game in the middle, the forgettable game, Ravens at Browns. Long story short on this game, the Ravens had done to them what they did to the Steelers last week. The Steelers moved the football up and down the field. They got into the red zone, and they turned the shit over. Mitchell Trubisky threw 3 picks, and they kicked field goals, and they won the football game. So essentially what happened to them, everything that could go wrong did go wrong in this game. Let's see. You had a failed 4th down. So the Browns got a stop on 4th down. You had an interception that Tyler Huntley threw to Deshaun Jackson, picked off by Denzel Ward. I question, why are you throwing a slant to Deshaun Jackson in that type of environment down in the red zone like he's a big body receiver? Like Deshaun he's soft. He's always been soft. Deshaun never wants contact. He's never looking for the smoke. He's a speed guy. Why are you running him across the middle of the field? Like Deshaun's built like that? Like he's about that life? Of course that corner's going to cut in front of him and take the ball from him. Deshaun don't want that smoke. You deserve that. That was a dumb play call. Poor usage of your players. There were so many other guys you could have put in that situation. You put the smallest guy on your team in that position? Yeah, you deserve to have that picked off. So you get that picked off. You got a chance to tie it up at 6 going into half, and Justin Tucker misses. Like, it's amazing. They acted as if Justin Tucker never misses. He misses sometimes. He's human. I keep trying to tell Washington fans, because after every miss, they're ready to run Joey Sly out of town, And I'm like, guys, kickers miss. And they, and everybody's rebuttal is Justin Tucker don't miss. Yeah, he misses too, He missed. Then he got a kick blocked. All right. Then he got a kick blocked in the game. Then they fumbled. Okay. The Ravens fumbled. They did everything in their power to lose this game. And they did. And so credit to the Browns, or as a wise man would say, credit to them. Credit to them. As they got it done 13-3 in this ball game over the Ravens. I just needed to say this. And I think Chubb almost went for 100. I think he ended up with 99. And they usually shut him down. Yep, 21 carries, 99 yards. I just need to say this. Tyler Huntley stinks. He's garbage. All right. Perfect backup for the Ravens. Don't get me wrong. But there was this conversation, especially last year, among people that didn't want to pay. If Lamar didn't want to take what the Ravens were offering, get rid of him. We got Tyler Huntley. He's just as serviceable as Lamar Jackson. We'll be fine. Oh, really? Lamar made money today by not playing in the game because Tyler Huntley sucks ass. That offense was so predictable and so garbage. Everything was 10 yards or less to the line of scrimmage. Slant, out, 5 yards, stop. I mean, how many slants are you going to run before eventually they pick one of them shits off? You done ran 50 slants. How many more of these can you run? Their offense was an embarrassment today. And that's a byproduct of Tyler Huntley. There's only so much you can do with him. I just wanted to make that point. Perfect backup for the Ravens. He stinks, though. He's not a starting quarterback. There were Washington fans after he carved us up in the preseason. Man, we should go after Ty. I was like, man, shut up. You come straight out of a damn comic book. Y'all damn Washington fans that want a quarterback so damn bad. You thirsty looking at people backup quarterbacks. You come straight out of a damn comic book. This dude is ass-tastic. Don't come to me talking about no damn Tyler Huntley. You should have seen how many comments I got. Man, that Ravens backup, Huntley, he's pretty good. We should go after him. What do you think? Hey, Louie, what do you think about Tyler Huntley? Not much. Today was one of those days where I'm like, hey, don't bring that shit to me no more, man. You bring that shit to me, go see the Browns game on that Saturday. That's what I'm going to start doing. Refer you to the Browns game in week 15. Leave me alone, okay? I want to hear shit else about Tyler Huntley. That offense was anemic. It was in the second half against Denver when he had to come in relief of Lamar Jackson. I get it. It's Denver's defense. It wasn't much better last week against the Steelers. He got hurt, so you'll cut him a break. He got hurt, left the game right before half. No excuses today. No excuses. This shit was garbage. Anyway, I digress. All right, so what a day of football. That was fun. Cheers to good football, and cheers to more good football on Sunday, and we'll cap the night off hopefully with a win by the Commanders. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to have my wine tomorrow night. So I'm just letting y'all know I'll be with wine in tow. I'm going to need a drink regardless. Either we celebrating a big win or I'm drinking my sorrows away. Either way, I will have a glass tomorrow. You bet your ass on that. So feel free to join me in whatever beverage you choose. Whatever's your vice. You don't drink, bring some water. The only thing you're not allowed to bring, we've already had this discussion, is milk. Is milk. And I love almond milk, just like the next man. That's not allowed either, okay? No exceptions, no equivocations, no milk. All right, let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. If you're out there and you want your comment read, we got all night. We don't have any restrictions on how long we can go tonight. We're just going to chop it up, kick it for as long as we go. So I'm going to try to get to as many comments as I can get tonight. And so if you are out there, you're new to the channel, first and foremost, y'all know what to do. Bang that subscribe button for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And last but not least, and I think this is something that all of you, need reminding of from time to time, hit the like button. It's free. Only take you a fraction of a second. Helps the channel grow exponentially. There's over 275 of you out there, only 98 likes. Well, we should be well over 100 right now. But sometimes you just need a little nudge, just a little push. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. I appreciate you. So let's go. We start the night off with Jonathan Hankey. Use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read. We'll get to as many hashtags as we can, but if you want to ensure that your comment is read, the only way to do that is to super chat. All right. So Jonathan Hankey, my resident Colts fan. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Jonathan writes, well, Lou, my Colts are back in tank mode, LOL. As bad as this loss was, it was a blessing in disguise. Getting a new long-term QB in the draft and clean house with new GM and head coach. You know what? That was the overarching theme of Colts Twitter. When I went on, I was looking for a lot of vitriol. I was looking for angry Colts fans that were fed up. Irsay is a clown. Can't believe that he put this guy, Jeff Saturday, in charge. This, that, and the third. That ain't what I got. I got a defeated group of fans who were over it a long time ago. They had already punted. You know what was so funny? Listening to Noah Eagle, who is the son of Iron Eagle. I'm pretty sure you guys knew that, but in case you didn't. And he kept saying the Colts are playing for their playoff lot. The Colts are 4-8. We're 4-8-1. Who in the hell thought about them as a playoff team? They're not going anywhere but home. Stop talking about the Colts playing for their playoff lot. Their season is over. They're playing out the string, okay? They need 87,923 things to happen, and they have to win out to make the playoffs. What are we talking about here? Okay, so that I found that laughable, number one. Number two, I was expecting fans to be up in arms and upset. No, they weren't upset. They weren't up in arms. They already were resigned to the fact that this season was over and that it was a shit show. They were more relieved that they didn't win a game that they have no business winning, because they're all eyes are on the prize. Hey, we got to get us a quarterback, man. We can't. So they're spoiled. And what happens when you're spoiled is you don't know how to conduct yourself when you go through the quarterback wilderness. Like, shit, I've been wandering as a fan in the quarterback wilderness for 3 decades. There was a brief stint where we were living in a cabin. You know when that portion was? When we had Kirk Cousins for 3 years, 15, 16, and 17. We were in a cabin. Life was good. I didn't have to worry about who my starter was every single week. Man, we had good breakfasts. We went out, we hunted, we ate good. And then all of a sudden, our cabin burned down. And we were back in the woods, and we haven't gotten out since. You learn to survive. It's not where you want to be. You can't thrive in the quarterback wilderness, but you learn how to survive if you're there long enough. The Colts fans are like, F this shit. We spent 2 seasons in the quarterback wilderness. We want out. Where is the exit of this thing? And I'm telling them, bro, grab a blanket. Get you some leaves, okay? Find you a tree with some berries. Get comfortable. You can scream as loud as you want. It's going to echo. Nobody's coming to save you. They would have won today. They would have been trending in that direction. A loss puts them right where they need to be. And now all of a sudden, they think they hear cars driving on the interstate and they may be able to get to safety. We'll see. We'll see. But they want no parts. When you had Peyton Manning for over a decade, and then you spend 1 season with Curtis Painter and bums, Dan Orlovsky and clowns like that. You spend 1 season, and then you get Andrew Luck. You get spoiled. And then you go from Andrew Luck to Phillip Rivers, essentially. You know, you spend 1 year, and you get Phillip Rivers. You're like, hey, this isn't bad. Hey, Phil, won't you come back? He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go coach high school ball. So you say, all right, we're going to go get Carson Wentz. We're fine. Get rid of him. Got Matt Ryan. Oh, we should be good. You got lied to. Now you're like, okay, enough of this veteran shit. Let's go get our own guy. I don't know if I trust your GM to do that, which is why most fans like Jonathan Hankey want the GM gone. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to get a chance to pick a quarterback. Oh, oy vey. Just be careful. I don't know if it's going to go the way you want it to, but you guys aren't used to living out there. You're not used to being in the quarterback wilderness. And I'm just telling you from experience, you don't want to be there. A lot of those Colts fans were relieved that they lost the game. I was shocked. I get it, though. Jonathan Hankey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, Jonathan writes. Also, this loss should give Irsay realization that he shouldn't meddle, too. No such thing is going to happen. Once a meddling owner, always a meddling owner. Doesn't matter how many times you F up, you're going to continue to do it because you think you know best. See Jerry Jones, see Daniel Snyder, see Al Davis, the late great. Once that is who you are, I think that's what's going on in Carolina right now with David Tepper. Another one of these dudes that think he knows best. And we'll see. You know, he may be onto something, but generally speaking, if you're a meddlesome owner, you're always going to be that. So I don't think that's going to change very much, but we see. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejon Bell writes, Lou, I called it. I told you we were rocking the all Berg. You did. You said it. And I said, when I remember you saying it, and I said, I don't know if they will. I don't recall if we had worn it, and we hadn't. And we've only worn burgundy twice this season. Once against the Titans, once against the Packers. So, and neither of those were Berg on Berg. It was Berg on white. So, I think they're trying to start a new tradition, because we don't have that combination anymore. Unless you want to consider the blackouts, that new, when we have a big game. The big game gear, the big game threads was always white on white. We knew it was a big game when we came out in all white. Somebody was about to get done up. Well, that's no longer a thing. So I guess they're trying to make the Berg on Bergs the new thing, but we'll see. You got to win. We didn't have great experience with the Berg on Bergs in the past, but this is a new iteration. This is a new thing. So we're going to treat it as such. But you called it. You did do that. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, JL Smooth. Right. Not going to lie, I thought we would boat race Miami. You did. You called this back when you beat them, or you lost the first time in Miami. You dominated them thoroughly. You kept referencing the statistics, and you weren't wrong. I mean, you absolutely dominated the game everywhere except the place where it mattered the most, and that's the scoreboard. So you said they got to come to us in December. We'll get them then. And I'm not going to lie, you influenced me. I thought, and not only you, but just watching the way they were limping into this game, having struggled offensively the last 2 weeks, I said, man, they seem like they're walking right into a buzzsaw. I mean, they're going to get smoked in this game. And your confidence rubbed off on me. And plus what I had seen from the Dolphins, especially last week on Sunday Night Football versus the Chargers, I said, yeah, JL Smooth, right. They're about to smoke these boys like a mother effing pack of cools. Not quite. He says, but Fins fans still can hold this L. Make sure you let them know. Playoffs for the 4th straight year. Seems like only yesterday we were on the brink of 18 years of no playoffs. Josh Allen is him. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah, doesn't it? I remember that drought. I remember Bills fans crying, profusely crying. When you won, I want to say it wasn't the year you made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. It was the following year where you won the division. And I think you beat the Broncos. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You beat the Broncos on a Saturday afternoon. Beat them bad too, like 40-something to like 19 or some shit like that. Crushed them in Denver. And you clinched the division. And you hadn't won the division in 89 years, right? Since the start of the evil empire in New England. And I remember, our good buddy Joe. Y'all remember Joey Sharp. He had a channel. He was crying. I looked at another channel. Those guys, it was 2 Bills fans. They were crying. I'm on Twitter. I see a couple of other fans. I'm like, shit, did I miss something? I get it. Like, everybody handles, excitement differently, if my team won the division and we hadn't won it in forever, I'm not crying. I'm excited. But it's emotional, man. I remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, there were fans that had been fans of the Eagles for 30, 40 years that never thought they'd see the day. They were weeping. I get it. I would understand that. But if you're a Bills fan of a certain age, this was commonplace for you in the late 80s, early 90s. This is what you did. You won the division. You went to the Super Bowl every year. And then you stopped right around 95. It stopped being a thing. All those guys got old and you had to hit the reset button. And you went through that phase that you go through when you're transitioning from a Hall of Fame team, which is what that was. And every dynasty, and that was a dynasty, even though you didn't win anything, That was a dynasty in Buffalo. And when you go through a dynasty, Dallas did it. The Steelers did it. The 49ers did it. Washington, we still ain't recovered from our dynasty. When you go through a dynasty and all of those guys age out, and you don't do it seamlessly, you don't transition to the next guy, it takes a while to get back on your feet. And it took you a while. But I was just shocked at the emotion from winning the division. I think this was 3 years ago, excuse me, when you won the division for the first time. But whatever the case may be, 4 straight years of the playoffs. Get used to it. This is going to be your life for the next decade with Josh Allen at quarterback. Should be fun. This should be a fun. It'll only be fun if you finally win a Lombardi, and I think you will. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy JL Smooth writes, shout out to Brandon Beane for all he's done for this team. Lou, I just want to spotlight Shaq Lawson. He sets the edge, rushes pretty well. Let it snow, baby. Just not 5 feet again, please. I talked about Shaq Lawson. And you know how I feel about Brandon Beane. I think he's the best GM in football. I've said that numerous times. I'll go to war with Brandon Beane, and I'll put him up against anybody because I think he's built this into a championship roster. And, hasn't had to do a lot during the season either. Did his work in the offseason. I mean, the biggest addition you've made during the season is probably Cole Beasley. This team is in a position to win a Super Bowl, and a large part of the reason why, obviously, the players on the field, like Josh Allen, but it's because of the roster that he's assembled. Shaq Lawson had a nice knockdown, a batted ball. I thought there was some space and opportunity out there for that play had he not batted it down. So he's been playing good football, man. Shaq, I think he also had a sack in this game as well. If I'm not mistaken, his sack was a forced fumble on Tua, but the Dolphins recovered. So Lawson's been playing really good, man. Playing really good football. Shout out to Brandon Beane for sure. And I said the same thing. That snow's coming. I just hope y'all don't get pounded like y'all did the last time when it snowed. Like you said, just not 5 feet. But y'all getting at least 2 feet of snow. With the way that shit was coming down, ain't no way. Ain't no way y'all coming away with less than 1.5 feet of snow. Y'all probably gonna get about 2 feet. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JL Smooth, 105.3 JL Smooth writes, Lou, as you know, we lost the greatest comeback in NFL history. I mean, ours was with our backup quarterback. Clearly, Frank Reich. You mean you won the greatest comeback in NFL history against Warren Moon. Theirs was against a 4-8 team in the Colts and Matt Ryan. Still impressive, but that kind of stinks. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. You lost that record. You had the record with Frank Reich. I get what you're saying now. I see what you're saying. You lost that record today. That was something that would live forever. Because I never thought anybody was going to break that record, to be honest with you. It's just so hard to come back in the NFL from a big deficit. It takes a lot to go right and a lot to go wrong to come back from even a 24-point deficit, which is essentially 4 scores. Could be 3, but nobody's going for three times. I mean, going for 2, 3 times and getting it all 3 times. You're going to have to score 4 different times usually to come back from a 24-point deficit. That's tough to do. A lot has to go right for you and a lot has to go wrong for the opposition to even come back from 24, let alone 33. So yeah, you did lose that today. To your point, yours with a backup. Jim Kelly was hurt. Frank Reich stepped in and brought you all the way back from a 35 to 3 deficit. However, That was a playoff game. So I think that still resonates. This is the greatest regular season comeback. That's the greatest postseason in terms of amount of points. I think 28-3 still is the Super Bowl. But yeah, that sucks that you lost it. But records were made to be broken. Just didn't think that one was going to get broken. But anyway, Mark David, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, after we pay Payne, what's your thoughts on Lamar? What about him? What about him? I'm seeing this from Washington fans too often. Like, Lamar's not going anywhere. Stop talking about Lamar Jackson. Stop eyeballing other people's stuff. The Ravens aren't letting him walk. That situation is a mess. And I don't see that ending in Lamar Jackson getting a long-term deal from the Ravens unless he's willing to acquiesce. Okay. What he's asking for is ridiculous. And he hasn't been healthy the last 2 years. So if I'm Baltimore, I'm looking at him and I'm saying, this is why we can't give you what you're looking for. I can't give you a Deshaun Watson type deal because we can't guarantee that you're going to play 17 games, man. But you know what the Ravens aren't going to do? They aren't trading him. Not at least not right now. And they aren't letting him walk. Okay? He'll be franchise tagged and he'll be in Baltimore next year. And he'll probably be in Baltimore the year after that, even if they still don't have a deal. So stop talking about Lamar Jackson. He's not going anywhere. It's the same shit y'all did with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was never going anywhere. Dallas was never going to let him walk. Lamar Jackson isn't going anywhere. Chaotic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chaotic writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, Chaotic? How's the fam? Everything's copacetic on this end. Hopefully the same can be said about you and yours. My little sister Candace is watching with me tonight. She's a big fan. Think you could give her a birthday shout out? What's up, Candace? Happy born day. Don't know how old you're turning. However, happy born day. And may you see many, many more, Candace. Cheers. Cheers. All right. Let's see. Alex Kurz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Alex writes, Merry Christmas, Lou. Merry Christmas, Alex. Knock out Christmas shopping, watching football throughout. Feeling accomplished. Nice to have another full day before game time. It is. It's a beautiful thing to just sit back and relax and not have the pressure. Like, Ron wanted to play today. If we would have played the Giants today, it would have messed up the entire day because I would not have been able to relax. Even if we were the first game, I would have been nervous. Even if we were the last game, I would have been nervous all day leading up to the game. I'm pretty chill. I was chill today. I think I'm going to be okay tomorrow. I think it won't set in until the 4 o'clock games. That's when I think I'll start to get a little nervous and antsy tomorrow. But we'll see. I'm kind of conflicted about Saturday games because I like spending time with my family. And once football's on, I'm watching football. So I'm not spending the kind of time that I would like to spend with my family, but it's only for the final, month of the season. So it is what it is. Anyway, I digress. John Livingston, my guy, JL Smooth. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, as always, who writes, Lou, the snowballs. Me and my brother were escorted out of the stadium by 2 sheriffs for throwing snowballs at the lower level, who were also throwing them at us. They were even throwing them at the post-game set, laughing my ass off. Did you really seriously get escorted out for throwing snowballs? Seriously, is that a real thing? I'm not gonna lie. I was getting mad at home watching because, like, it was cool after a touchdown to start throwing snowballs. That was cool, but when you started hurling them for no reason, like the Dolphins had a big play, they just started throwing snowballs, and none of those dudes in the crowd have any accuracy. So they're trying to hit Tyreek Hill, but they end up hitting their own player or hitting an official. or it just falls to the field harmlessly. So it started to become annoying. Like you're watching a snap and then there's a snowball coming. Tua's trying to throw the football and there's a snowball hitting like 3 yards away from him. Like, come on, guys, cut your shit. All right, cut your nonsense. So it became a problem. Then when the Dolphins scored a touchdown, they really started hurling them things. And like they said, those aren't nice, soft snow. That's not nice, soft snow that just fell. That's old snow from yesterday. That's hard. If you've ever been around snow when it shit kind of turns into this compacted type ice, you make that shit into a snowball. That's a damn ice ball. That shit is a weapon. Okay. You hit somebody with that ain't your normal, having fun, tossing a little snowball at somebody. Because real snow, if it's soft, that shit doesn't even stick together. It's those ice balls that stick together and come together like a comet. That's just like an asteroid. So, yeah, that was crazy. That's wild. All right. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JL Smooth, writes, should clarify, we were escorted out at the Indy game in 2017, not tonight. Okay. All right. I had to make sure. I was like, really? Did you get escorted out tonight of tonight's game? Really? I didn't see that happening. I mean, so many people were throwing snowballs. I mean, I find it hard that they threw anybody out tonight, unless you were a habitual offender. They warned you and they said, hey, if we catch you again, you're out of here. Okay, then I get it. But it's hard for me to believe that they just were tossing people out of the game. I've never heard the official, though, make an announcement that if you don't stop doing, this thing, we're going to have to, assess your team a 15-yard penalty. Like, that's not even cool. Why? Because if they say that, and I'm a Dolphins fan at the game, guess what I'm doing? I'm hurling snowballs like repeatedly, because they're gonna think they're gonna think it's Bills fans, and you're gonna get a penalty on your team. So I didn't think that was cool. Like, you can't, like, that's a last ditch effort. I get it, but you don't know who's throwing. Like, that whole stadium isn't filled with just Bills fans. So that's crazy. Anyway. Let's see. Do we have any more supers? All right. I'm just scanning some of y'all comments as I go down. Yeah, here's one here from Frankie. Yo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy. Frankie. Yo, writes, placed a YOLO bet today for fun when the Vikings were down 33-0. Just gonna spread a little Christmas cheer your way. Oh, you must have got the blessing today. I appreciate your generosity, but if you drop it a 50 spot on me, that means you got the blessing today, bro. That means they were giving away free action when it was 33-0, and you must have put down on the Vikings coming back and winning the game. And you wouldn't have had to put down a lot because the odds were probably insane. They were giving it away. Like, please bet on this. And you did. Sounds like you did. Thanks for all the content. Excited to bring home the dub tomorrow night. Well, I guess it's now tonight. Yeah, it's past. Shit, it's after. I didn't even realize it was after 1 a.m. on the East Coast. Happy holidays to you and yours. Likewise, Frankie. Yo. Really, truly do appreciate you. And congrats on that extra blessing you got yesterday. You know what? In hindsight, it was a smart move. In the moment, it was probably dumb. It was probably foolish. But he was like, yeah, it's a YOLO bet. Who cares? It's just a couple of bucks. And look at what happened. That's beautiful. Gotta love when a plan comes together. Anyway. Let's see. John Livingston. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. JL Smooth writes, Couldn't agree more, Lou. Milk is for babies. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Plus, it's gross, so there's that. I can't stand milk, especially when I wasn't vegan. Milk was disgusting to me. I couldn't stand it. The only way I could consume milk before was if it was in cereal. That was it. Now with almond milk, it's better. It's not as bad. Still, it's milk. So it's not allowed. It's just not allowed. Let's see. Edward Washington, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Edward Washington, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, imagine you're Matt Ryan. First the Super Bowl, now you're a part in the best comeback in NFL history. Not to mention the Cowboys onside kick game. Is he cursed? I don't know. But he's lost in some brutal manners. He's also won some games in epic fashion too. He's had his fair share of both, but his losses have been way worse. This one, I'm pretty sure, look, this one sucks. But this one, I can assure you, in the list of losses that he's had, this is pretty high on the list, but they suck. They weren't going anywhere. This win wasn't going to alter their season one way or the other. Nothing tops 28-3 in the Super Bowl. That is a legacy-defining loss for Matt Ryan. He wins that Super Bowl. It changes the way you view him as a quarterback in his career. He didn't win that game. He doesn't have a Super Bowl. He is a league MVP because he won it that season. But if he had a Super Bowl to accompany that league MVP, we are having, is Matt Ryan a Hall of Famer discussion? Without that Super Bowl, we're not having that discussion. He's not a Hall of Fame player to me. He's a really good player, damn good player. But not all good players, and this is where people, I think, make the mistake. Not all good players should end up in the Hall of Fame. All right. The Hall of Fame isn't for really good players. It's for the great players, the best of the best, the elites. Matt Ryan isn't that. It's a really good player. You know who else was a really good player? Rich Gannon. You know who else won a league MVP? Rich Gannon. You know who else lost the Super Bowl? Rich Gannon. Is he a Super Bowl quarterback? No. I mean, is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? No. Who had a better career? Of course, Matt Ryan had a better career. Matthew Stafford, I thought, was going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback no matter what. Now that he's won a Super Bowl, there's no debating it. That's what a Super Bowl on your resume can do for you. And Matt Ryan lost being up 28-3. This one stings, and I'm pretty sure in the pantheon of losses in his career, this has to be in the top 3. I can't imagine him having 2 other losses worse than this one. But in terms of importance, they were 4-8-1. They weren't going anywhere. It is what it is. But he's been a part of some devastating losses. To your point, the Dallas game when they came back, like you said, kicked the onside kick, beat them. They were down I think the Cowboys were down 30 in the fourth quarter, and they weren't because they didn't come back from 30, but felt like it in that game. I think they were down 20 with 3 minutes to go in the game or something crazy like that, 4 minutes, and they came back and beat them. Anyway, I digress. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejan, double up, thank you for doubling up. All right. He says, since we just chilling right now, which college CBS catching your eye? And have you checked out Florida QB? So what cornerbacks are catching my eye? I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. Only thing I can tell you is I keep one eye open like CBS because, luck is always out here keeping me stressed, right? Can I live? I can't tell you about any college football prospects at this current juncture until I actually watch them intently. I can tell you if I like them or not, but usually it isn't corners. Corners are unique in the sense that you really need the all 22s to watch, to see what they're doing, because you can't really see them on most snaps. So there's some corners out there that I think are pretty good, but in order for me to kind of rank them, to have a true opinion on them, I'd have to watch more. The Florida quarterback, I don't like him. Anthony Richardson is who you're referring to. I don't like him. But he's talented, and somebody's going to fall in love with his talent, but I'm good. I'm good on Anthony Richardson. There were some off-the-field issues there. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you do your homework, you'll be able to iron those things out if you really are interested in a young man. But there's that. There's the inconsistency. He's a great athlete. I don't love him as a passer. He's inconsistent at best. But again, being toolsy goes a long way in this league. Someone's going to take a chance on the tools that he brings to the table. So we'll see what happens. So thank you for the super chat once again, Dejan, who writes, any college cornerbacks you got your eye on, and what do you think of Florida's quarterback? So you asked the same question just to make sure that I didn't get that. I knew what CBS you meant, even though if you're going to put CB and then S, make the S smaller, right? So it's corner. So I know, but I knew what you were saying. It's all good. Chaotic. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, well, Lou, you done got again. Candace, I knew it wasn't. So this is the thing, right? You gotta try to get me. So I read your comment, and you said Lou's gonna be mad because he's about to get got. I know this is gonna sound weird, but he's about to get got. So I already knew it was you. Okay, look, you're not gonna get me, bro. All right, if you got a stoop as low, first of all, you didn't ask me and get me to like who. You literally said it's my sister's birthday. Okay, which that's pretty low, dude. If you gotta go and you got people out here wishing Candace happy birthday, and it's not really somebody's birthday, like that's pretty low. I'm actually disappointed in you. And that's number one. But number two is you didn't get me to say anything. Like, you're reaching, bro. You're reaching. You reach, I teach. Okay. I had already read your comment and I saw what you said, and I wasn't tripping. You know why I wasn't tripping? Because you didn't get me to say anything flagrant. Bro, just face it. You either gonna have to be really special, or I'm gonna have to be really bad for you to get me. Now I feel good now. I feel, because you've gotten me to where I'm like hyper vigilant. Like everybody's a suspect, right? So you're in my head, right? But I'm in yours as well, and I feel good about that. You want to get me so bad that you're coming up with these creative ways, but they're worse than what they were when you were actually having a chance to get me. You're getting worse. I need you to tighten up, Luck. I really, truly do. Anyway. See, I'm not even reading this. I cannot, man. I cannot with you. Spanking giant cheeks. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, also, can I get a double up in chameleon mode? I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. Anyway. Abel Ambrosio. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, thoughts on Swanson to the Cubs? Look, You can't re-sign everybody. I was a little disappointed when I realized, first of all, it didn't take me long to realize he wasn't coming back. When this frenzy started and we saw all of this money being thrown out, what I've learned from our GM, Double A, Alex Anthopoulos, is that if he's interested in signing a guy, he does it immediately. And he's not going to play games with you. Either you want to be here in Atlanta and you're going to play ball. And I wouldn't necessarily say he's trying to lowball guys, but he is trying to get the best deal possible for the organization, which is his job. His job as a GM is to get the best possible deal for the organization. And he's done that. He's gotten out in front of a bunch of dudes, Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies and Riley, and all of these guys have gotten deals. They went and they got rid. Freddie Freeman didn't want to play ball, right? Didn't want to sign, and they were playing games. Freddie didn't even know that they were trading for Matt Olson. He just found out, like, bam, bro, you gone. Matt Olson traded for him and signed like a 7-year deal. Like, we got all of these dudes locked up. Just locked up Michael Harris this year, right? All these young boys locked up for many years to come. You can't lock up everybody. I thought they could get Dansby, but this was the problem. They had a number for Dansby. And there was no way Dansby was coming back at that number. Here's the thing with Dansby you got to understand. Dansby was a former #1 overall pick. And he flamed out in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. That's how he got back home to Atlanta. When he came to Atlanta, he came as a savior of sorts. We weren't good then. That's when we were rebuilding and trying to get back to the mountaintop. And we made him one of the faces. Freddie was the dude, but we made him one of the faces of the franchise. And he didn't handle it well initially. And it wasn't until 2 seasons ago where he started to play good baseball. And then last year, he started off slumping. And then he came on like gangbusters, and he carried us for a stretch there. The one consistent thing you get from Dansby is his glove. He's got one of the best gloves at shortstop in the league. I'm going to miss that. I don't trust this new fella we got, that we brought up last year that we're going to have playing shortstop. I know his glove ain't as filthy as Dansby's, right? So I'm a little nervous about that. I know the young fella can hit, and he's probably going to be a much more consistent. Dansby's a career 260 hitter, like super streaky. But the glove, something serious. So I'm going to miss that. But Dansby just got $25 million a year. They weren't looking to pay him that. This is how I always feel about money in sports. It ain't my damn money. And baseball doesn't have a cap. I don't give a shit. You spend as much as you want. The Yankees and the Red Sox do the shit every year. Ain't my damn money. I wanted Dansby back. But once I saw the money that these other shortstops would get, I was like, oh, you shit. Dansby ain't coming back for no $18 or $20 million a year. And he got 25. So good for him. I'm happy for him. He went to the Cubs. I wish him nothing but the best. I just didn't want him to go to the Dodgers. I said, anybody but the damn Dodgers. He went to the Cubs. I got no ill will, no hard feelings. It is what it is. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JL Smooth, writes, I think Josh will be fine. I still cringe every time he runs, but that's his game. It is. He says, my issue with this offense is the use of James Cook. I love me some Singletary, but Cook is more explosive. Still miss Carlos Williams. That dude was special. So here's the thing, John. I think they're still trying to figure out James Cook. I think him fumbling early in the season scared them a little bit. So in situations like, we know he's more explosive. They know he's more explosive. He's getting more touches. You've seen that. His evolution throughout the season went from fumbling on his very first carry to them not trusting him for a while, to him getting a little bit of love, to now him getting a lot more touches. But they brought Nyheim Hines in here too. I think that's the most criminal thing that's going on right now is the lack of use. You know how much of a weapon Nyheim Hines is out of the backfield as a receiver? And this guy isn't getting on the field yet. So I think that that's the most criminal. I was happy to see him catch a touchdown tonight because I'm like, you should be using Nyheim Hines more. That's the most criminal thing that's taking place right now. But I think they're figuring out James Cook is legit. They just got to make sure he can hold on to the ball. So they're giving him more and more opportunities. He's taking advantage of those opportunities. But understand, we got to trust you for you to take over and be that dude. And I still think they're in that feeling out process of trusting him. But I think they need to get Nyheim Hines involved more in the offense. That's what I think is criminal right now. Let's see. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, John Livingston. First of all, this ain't John, but okay, this is chameleon mode. Like I said, when it was said the first time, I was like, I don't even know what that is. I'm not even getting into that with you. You want me to go, what is that? Not going to do that. I don't even know what that is. I'm moving on. That's how I'm going. That's how I'm doing it. Abel Ambrosio. Has Luck got in here and taken over? Is that what we're doing now? Abel Ambrosio, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Again, I know this ain't Abel. All right. But also chameleon mode. Luck is on the loose. Hey, y'all, protect your neck. Miss Perry. This ain't her either. Look, I'm over here. Uh-oh. Luck is on the loose. Uh-oh. Frankie, yo. I am everywhere. That you are, which is why I'm always on high alert. Which is why I'm always on high alert. It's always code red. Daniel Primrose, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Daniel, you know, hey, look, Mob, y'all know what to do. Show Daniel some love. Welcome him with open arms. Let him know what it feels like to be a member of the MOBB. So glad to have you on board, Daniel. And again, no time like the present to be a member of the MOBB. It felt so good. I need to check. I don't have my mobile device, but I need to check my phone. I felt so good to give away tickets to people who either haven't been to the game in forever or want to take their family. And then my guy, Uncle Jay, we all know and love Uncle Jay, right? Jason Rogers, Uncle Jay, a.k.a. Uncle Jay. Hey, Daniel Primrose, welcome to the squad. Welcome aboard, man. Uncle Jay donated 2 more tickets. He couldn't go to the game. And he was like, hey, I can't go. So I'm going to leave these with you. I know you're going to find, you're going to make do with them. And they're in safe hands if I pass them off to you. I'm like, well, look, you bless me, I'm going to bless somebody else. You know how this goes. He's like, I know these tickets are in good hands. I'm going to pass them on to you. So I'm all state with tickets. They in good hands. Okay. I'm going to make sure they find their hands of 2 more Commanders fans. So found, we did the drawing already and we had our, runner-ups and stuff like that. So I was able to get the tickets away. I got to make sure they got the tickets because it was a little bit of funny business with the ticket app. And I don't know if he got his tickets, but it felt good to give them tickets away, man. Felt really good. So I said all of that to say it's great. This environment, this family we've created, the mob is legit. It's real. And it's great to be able to give back to y'all, man. So Daniel, welcome aboard. And like I said, no better time like the present. Spanking Giant Cheeks. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I think that's a double up. Might have been triple up. He says, I'm still here too. Bro, You everywhere. I don't even know how you do it, to be honest with you. I don't know how you do it. Anyway. All right. Got a couple of hashtags. So I'm going to just knock out some hashtags just real quick. We get out of here soon. I don't deserve this. So let me just say this. I don't deserve this. This is the second time we've had a stream and you've super chatted me or you've used the hashtag. Can you please spell Louie right? I'm going to let you slide. I let you slide last time. I didn't say nothing because typos happen. Now this is getting out of hand. Okay. So I'm going to tell you this time. I'm going to let you slide. I'm not reading your shit no more if you can't get Louie right. Okay. If you cannot get Louie right, then we have a problem. Okay. Big mistake that Ron made, no one talks about, is De'Ami Brown over Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mistakes happen. Guess what? Ron and company weren't the only team to pass on Amon-Ra St. Brown. He went through all the receivers that went before him. Not all those receivers are good. So it happens. Says, I get a heart attack every time Justin Jefferson does the fake injury gritty. He got me against Buffalo. He got me the first time. I was like, oh, he's hurt. When he did it today, I wasn't falling for it. I don't deserve this rights. Will Deshaun Watson ever be forgiven? Has Michael Vick been forgiven? No. The answer is no. The answer is no. Red Wings 01 writes, Matt Ryan and epic choke jobs. Name a more iconic duo. I don't know if there is one, man. Maybe just the Atlanta Falcons and epic choke jobs and blown leads. It's going to be tough. If you're just talking about a single entity, I don't know if you can find another. Red Wings 01 writes, it's really a shame how his career ends and what he'll be known for. In my opinion, he is a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. And had he won that Super Bowl, I doubt it'd even be a discussion. I just said that. It's crazy because I hadn't seen your comment, but I just said that. Said the exact same thing. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. And he's had a really good career. He wins the Super Bowl, and it changes the way we view his entire career. One game. Amazing. Daniel Denny says, should be a good one. Lou working extra hard around the holidays. All right. Are you talking about tonight's stream? Gotcha. HTTR Carson writes, crazy games today, Lou. And if there was any team that would have blown the biggest lead in NFL history, it would have been the Colts. Still not scared of the Vikings, nor should you be. I'm not. Today reinforced how I felt about them all along, which is, hey, I want a piece. I want a piece of the Vikings. Let me get those boys in the first round. If I got to play somebody in the first round, I'd like it to be Minnesota, please. HHC Lunar writes, well, the Colts now have the game they will never be able to live down. They do. And every franchise has a game where you go, I remember that game. This is one where it's not just your fans that go, I remember that game. Everybody is going to remember this game, right? On a Saturday. So every franchise has a game where you go, oh man, I'm trying to forget that game. It's worse when everybody's watching. It's worse when everybody's watching. Let's see. All right. Jonathan Hankey says, hopefully my Colts draft Anthony Richardson, a.k.a. Josh Allen 2.0. That's the thing. I don't think he is Josh Allen. You go right ahead, though. Knock yourself out. And I could be wrong about this kid. I was wrong about Justin Herbert. One thing, I won't say that my hit rate on quarterbacks is excellent, but it's higher than most. I feel pretty good about my hit rate on quarterbacks and the guys that I've been really high on and the guys that I haven't been. there's been some misses. There have been guys. I thought Josh Rosen would be a lot better in the NFL if he went to the right team as a pocket passer. I knew he didn't have any athleticism. The league was moving away from that. But I was like, he ends up on a team like New England, where they're, Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, where they're looking to protect the pocket passer. He'd be fine, but he never got that chance. But I was all in on Josh Allen from day one, and a lot of people weren't. He's my biggest prize to this date, to date, on quarterbacks. He was the one that I stuck my neck out for, and he's proven me right. I don't think Anthony Richardson is Josh Allen in any way, shape, or form. The two are not even close to me. He's a great athlete, but he is not Josh Allen. Not even close. But I got to watch him some more. That's not fair to him. The games that I've watched him in, he's been terrible. There have been like 2 games I've watched him in, and he was really good. But I've seen more terrible games of Anthony Richardson than good games, and that's probably what has shaped my opinion of him. I just need to see more of his body of work before I kill the kid. But I know this much: I don't love him. I don't love him. Let's see. Any more hashtags before we get out of here? We already hit the 2-hour mark, so we're probably about to get out of here anyway. All right. Let's see if I got any more super chats then. I don't see any more hashtags. If they are, they're buried at the bottom. So make sure I don't have any more supers. And then, yeah, no more supers. So, all right. Tomorrow's a big day of football. This Saturday kicked it off beautifully. I talked about the eliminators, and, we got a bunch of them on Sunday. We had one tonight, Buffalo, Miami. I told you it was a pseudo eliminator. It wasn't a true elimination game where the loser is not making the playoffs. I said that this could be detrimental to the health of the Dolphins if they lost, and I expected them to lose. Meanwhile, for Buffalo, it was detrimental to their chances of being a number 1 seed. Even if they lost this game, I still thought they were going to win the division. But it made it a lot tougher because the Bills would have lost the season series to the Dolphins. They would have been swept by them, and it would have made it a lot easier for Miami to come back. But if Buffalo wants to make it to the Super Bowl, I've already said this, you need home field advantage. You don't want to go to Cincinnati. You don't want to go to Kansas City. You want to be at home. This was a big win tonight. So now we get to tomorrow. A lot of action, and the beauty of it is we get to watch all of it. As Washington fans, we don't play until Sunday night, so we get to watch every single game. So I'm looking forward to it. Massive game, and I look forward to chopping up with y'all after the game. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be here. Y'all know where to find me. I expect to win. Anything less will be uncivilized. And Bart Scott. Can't wait. What a day of football. Vikings, biggest comeback in NFL history, down 33-0 at halftime, down 36-7 in the third quarter. Rally all the way back, tie it at 36, win in overtime, 39-36. The second game of the triple header was very forgettable. 13-10 win by the Browns over the Ravens. Ravens are now a half game behind the Cincinnati Bengals in the division. Pending what happens with the Buccaneers game, the Bengals could take a full game lead in sole possession of first place. And who doesn't think they're going to win that game? But stranger things have happened. We'll see. The narrative, and I told you guys this, I didn't like how Baltimore was playing. So this should not have come as a surprise. What did I tell y'all with my picks? This was the game I skipped twice, had to come back to, and I told you, I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't trust this pick. I just went with Baltimore because they were the better team. And I said, I don't like asking garbage teams to do anything for me. Well, it still backfired on me anyway, because the Ravens look really bad today. So, and then nightcap, epic contest, AFC East family business, Dolphins at Bills. Snow comes halfway through the fourth quarter, pouring down. Bills come back down 8 in the fourth quarter, tie the game up, take the lead, walk-off field goal, win 32-29. You guys, have a good one. Take care. I got a couple of supers on the way out. Spanking Giant Cheeks, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. I'm going to finish that just in case you try to leave it open so you can come back and say these nuts. I'm just going to finish it for you. I got both hands up anyway. Frankie, yo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, the Commanders. Thank you for finishing that. Thank you for finishing that. Anyway, I digress. You guys have a good one. Y'all know what it is. Get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, God bless and good nights.
Louie